Hey, all of it, thank you so much for listening to the Men's Room Podcast.
And thanks to our pals at the Advocates Law Firm for being great partners. Yes, even you, creepy Kyle.
Seriously, though, if you'd been injured as a result of somebody else in your car, on your bike, walking across the street, talk to our friends at the Advocates Law Firm and let them help you out.
Yeah, they're the best injury lawyers around, and they want to make sure that you're not taken advantage of. Plus, your first consultation is free.
It's simple. You get injured, the advocates get results. Contact them today at advocateslaw.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
What's up? It's your boy, The Fed Smith. Thanks for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast. Want more? Check out the greatest podcast in all the land, The Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and listen to a brand new episode every Tuesday night.
Unfortunately, what you're about to hear is real. The members of this radio program are simply not that bright, or what some people would call educated. They are merely stupid. They're not trying to offend anyone on purpose. And all have played doctors on TV. You have been warned and are cordially invited to join the party. This is the Men's Room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. You know what they say, shake your radio more than 3 times, and you're playing with it. You're listening to the Men's Room.
And away we go. Welcome to season 17, episode number 3638. Along with Steve the Thrill Hill, the Ted Smith, and Mike Hawk. Montgomery! And you are the Men's Room. On tap today, Ryan Castle joins us from his basement dungeon bar studio, and once again, we will sit and spin into the weirdness today with 10 unbelievably strange or ill-advised cover songs. We will play Profile This, plus headlines, a Men's Room shot of the day, fun listener emails, and everyone's favorite, TV Time with Tim.
Clack, clack, drink-a-dee-drunk.
All right, here we go. Michigan man tries to steal a helicopter to then attack a hospital and free people being treated for COVID-19. Meanwhile, a Louisiana cop is pounced on by an angry nutstasher who was furry and mean. Florida teacher tries to steal a jar of pickles and bites 2 students on the arm. Florida mom leaves child for 2 hours in a car to gamble, causing some alarm. And a mom of the year takes a son to fight another teen, then decides to jump in for fun. That is all coming on today's very special episode of The Men's Room.
And now, here's the question.
Hola, bitches. Good day to you and yours. All right, after 10 seasons, 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 Super Bowl victory, 9 Pro Bowls, and a 104-53-1 record, Seattle Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson is no longer Seattle Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson. After a trade with the Mile High City, he will now be Denver Broncos quarterback Russell Wilson. And in return, the Hawks are getting, and I quote, a massive haul. That includes multiple first-round picks, plus additional picks, a few extra players, etc. Now, it should be noted that all of this is contingent on 2 things. 1, Wilson passes a physical, and 2, Wilson agrees to the trade. Now, assuming that he does agree, which we think he will, then we'll all know one thing to be true. Russell realized it was time for a new job. And anyone who's ever had a job has had that experience. Now, sometimes you just hate your job or you hate your boss. Hours of crap. Maybe you started a family, you're relocating, going back to school, or maybe you were asked to quit because the public found out what the company already knew, that you suck. Like CNN President Jeff Zucker or NBC's Matt Lauer, or more recently, John Dempsey. That's a senior executive at Estee Lauder who posted a racist meme on Instagram. Yeah, once the public found out, they're asked to leave. But look, everyone has a reason why they need to move on from a job, whether it's a good reason, a bad reason, or just something different. But today, in honor of Russell moving on, we want to know, What's the reason you had to change jobs?
Be part of the Big Show. Call 206-421-ROCK. Like the Men's Room on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Men's Room Live. And send those emails to the Men's Room at KISW.com.
Oh, drat. I was driving along minding my own business when that vulgar leech hit my Beamer with his pickup truck. I fear I've fractured my clavicle.
I say, old boy, don't simply put it in the hands of your insurance company to sort it out. Talk with the dedicated road solicitors at the Advocates Law Firm.
Pipe down, you old sod. The Advocates will see your case through to the bitter end and won't sleep a fortnight until they have victory in their grasp.
Jolly good, old man. Jolly good indeed.
You get injured, the Advocates get results. AdvocatesLaw.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Realtors abide by a code of ethics. This is Article 9 in action. Beth, a first-time homebuyer, knew nothing about the home buying process, except that she wanted to buy a home. But her realtor had the expertise to make sure Beth understood every document, even giving her copies to review with her lawyer so Beth could close on her first home with confidence. Complicated things explained in simple terms. The difference between an agent and a realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
99.9 KISW.
Home Patrols, where we go? Welcome to Season 17, Episode number 3638. What a large and a charged program we have for you today. Guaranteed future repeat. Ryan Castle once again joining us from his basement dungeon bar studio. Once again, we'll sit and spin. And as we did last week, we did some cover songs that were better the second time around than the original version of the song.
Sure, yeah.
So, like, for example, All Along the Watchtower. Bob Dylan wrote it and did it originally. We know Jimi Hendrix's version to be the better version, in my opinion.
To be fair.
And the more iconic one. I know you're a U2 fan, Steve, and you like their version, but Jimmy actually is the one who really took it over the top. You know what I'm saying?
I do feel that Bob Dylan should be a songwriter for other people. Maybe
and he has done a lot of that. I mean, he didn't intend it that way.
No, but there's a reason. People go, man, this song could be really good if someone else did it. I mean, that's really how it works with that.
So today we've got 10 unbelievably strange or ill-advised cover songs. In other words,
okay.
Maybe this was not the best idea to cover this particular song based on the circumstances. Maybe it's not the right fit for the artist. Maybe
but it's
the
hard
content
to say, right? Because you can say Disturbed with Sounds of Silence, right?
But look what a big hit that was.
No, I know. But when you say it out loud, I would have told them, guys, based on how I know this band, that's a bad idea. Obviously, I'd be wrong. But you're saying this time people are like, we told you.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know, some of my favorites.
Careless Whisper. You know,
there's a good idea.
If they came up and said, hey, man, we're going to cover Careless Whisper. Who did it? What's her face?
Wham.
Not the cover.
Oh, who did Seether?
Seether, right. Yeah. I've been like, guys, I don't know about that. And they put it out, and I'm like, pretty damn good. Mm-hmm. Judas Priest covered Joan Baez, Diamonds and Roses. Again, I'd have told them, this is a terrible idea. Really cool song.
Devo and Soundgarden with Girl You Want. There's a bunch of weird ones out there. But these are not the ones that are like, oh, that was cool.
These are the ones that failed.
These are the ones you're like, oh, God, what was
we were right.
You know,
this is terrible.
Like our buddy Juan. You know, that's pretty good cover.
I love these songs.
Yes. Blue on Black.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I remember it well.
My name is Juan Black. This is a wonderful time.
I cannot believe you wrote a song about our experience.
This is amazing. Blue on Black. Oh, my God. Too much.
Every time, Mike.
Oh, my goodness.
No.
I never thought I'd meet a person like you.
We did it in the studio earlier, playing the song. All I said was, oh, yes.
My name is Juan Black. It's great to meet you.
Perhaps you have heard of me.
Yeah. 10 unbelievable, strange, real advice cover songs coming up. We'll sit and spin today on the Men's Room Happy Hour, episode number 130. I'll probably get into a little football talk, and actually, I think we're going to take some of your calls today for the Men's Room Happy Hour and just let you scream in the phone.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all. We just want to, you can just get it out.
Holy
shit! Just free therapy.
Yeah, we understand, man. We get it.
You can just yell at us. It's perfectly fine. That's the reason we're asking our question. What is the reason that you had to change jobs? As you have probably heard, and it's probably buried somewhere in your social media feed.
Can't find it.
It's not out there, so please don't drive off the road if you're hearing this for the first time. But in one of the largest trades in NFL history, the Denver Broncos have agreed to send a significant package to the Seahawks in exchange for Russell Wilson. And this is all according to ESPN. Broncos quarterback Drew Lock will be sent to the Seahawks as part of the deal.
Does that make anyone happy? Listen, I have nothing against Drew Lock, but I feel like, Denver said, hey, in return for Russell, here's 1,000 things we're going to give you. Mm-hmm. And then, picture like you send a box, right? So the Broncos send Seattle a box for Russell Wilson. The Seahawks open the box. They call Denver and go, hey, did you guys mean to include the Drew Lock that's in here? And Denver says, just go ahead and keep it or take it to Goodwill. We don't really want it anymore. That does not sweeten the deal.
Right, sure. Well, at the, as they say, the trade gives Denver the quarterback it has sought since Peyton Manning retired. It gives Seattle a foundation on which to rebuild. Without the quarterback, it led the Seahawks to their only Super Bowl title. As the last obstacle for the trade needed to be completed, Wilson is expected to waive his no-clause free trade, freeing the Seahawks to send him to Denver. That'll end his historic 10-season run here in Seattle that included 9 Pro Bowl selections, 1 Super Bowl title, and more wins than any quarterback ever has posted during the first 10 seasons in the league.
Yeah.
So it's significant. And ESPN notes Denver acquiring Russell Wilson has nothing to do with the Aaron Rodgers decision to return to Green Bay, but deep down inside, this whole Russell Wilson thing is really hurting Aaron Rodgers today, knowing that it's just not his day to be in the spotlight.
Yeah, it is.
He is not the only tweeted something out in the middle of the day, like, I'm here, don't forget me. Like, you don't know everything about the trade.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Nobody
asks.
They really don't. They don't. You can make a crap ton of money.
I don't care about him one way or another, but I woke up this morning, saw the headline, Aaron Rodgers signs 4 more years, and it annoyed me. So I'm like, I don't need to know everything about him, even though this is just football related. Quick, weird side note, as much as we all dislike Aaron Rodgers, my brother gets along with him famously.
I don't dislike Aaron. I like watching Aaron Rodgers play football. I do not like everything else associated with
That's
Aaron
what I
Rodgers.
mean.
That's all. As long as he just plays football, it's fine, but everything else just seems really, really whiny.
He just seems annoying.
And for somebody who's that good and has been around the league for that long, to me, this behavior is just a little bit more juvenile than I would expect from a veteran quarterback.
But you got to remember, though, guys. Remember, he got canceled. Cancel culture's out of control. It happened to him. You only got, $400 million today.
You might just be acting like a jackass. And you're like, why do I have to hear about you? I don't care. I don't care if you're the biggest douchebag. I don't need to hear every element of it. He broke up with I don't care.
Seahawks got a couple of first-round draft picks. They got some other stuff. They got a tight end. They got another player from the Broncos. But whatever that is, I think the shot going around Seattle is that the Russell Wilson's not going to be here anymore. And if you've been here and followed his career, you know that Russell Wilson, he and his wife do a lot of good outside of that arena as far as what they do with Children's Hospital.
Children's Hospital every Tuesday.
I don't think he's going to give up the community aspect of things, but let's face it, he's not going to be in Seattle anymore.
He still has part of the Seattle Sounders FC.
Yeah,
correct. So he's not going to go
his
away.
roots here will stay. He just won't be playing here.
Exactly. Which is, it's the end of an era. So, but like anything else, a lot of times when you change jobs, you got to move. Sometimes you can get a job in the same town. Other times, depending on the opportunities that are out there, part of the opportunity is to just move to a different place, experience different things. Sometimes that is by your own will. Other times it's not. Other times it's in someone else's control, whether you're employed there or not. And there's a lot of reasons why. You maybe don't work at the same place you used to. It could be one boss. It could be one coworker. It could be one incident. It could be one thing that you did or one thing that, the company did where you said, you know what? I just got to get out of here. I can't do this anymore. It could be the hours. Could be the monotony of the job. Maybe the job had some requirements that, you couldn't stand anymore. You didn't want to deal with. A lot of people who've worked in the retail field will say that they'll never want to work in retail again just based on the fact that they have to interact with people. Mm-hmm. And people are the most difficult things to interact with. I mean, hell, at the beginning of the pandemic, we had, when you could still get into restaurants and still deal with as far as what waiters and waitresses and bartenders and everybody else had to deal with as far as the general public. You look at all the stories that we get from people working in the fast food industry who are working the drive-through, and the next thing you know, they got a Slurpee in their lap, or somebody's
climbing through the window to get a ranch.
Yeah, and they want to kill them. So there's all kinds of reasons.
Got held up at gunpoint
for this, man.
For soy sauce.
I've had enough. I've had enough. And a fun stat for you: a new survey found most Americans feel like they've never had a boss who truly appreciated the work they do.
Well, sure.
63% said their current boss doesn't appreciate them enough. 59% said no boss ever has. 46% said they've even left a job because they felt undervalued. There's one thing that can keep you at a job, though, even if your boss doesn't see how capable you are. 2/3 of people said they'd stay at a job as long as their coworkers appreciated them. I will say one thing. I think that there's a real a real sense of employers right now feeling like that that the flexibility of working from home is something that is a positive thing for workers for their company, and to tighten down and say, hey, man, you got to come into work, you got to be here these days. A lot of other companies are not doing that, and they allow a little bit more flexibility. So one of the reasons I don't think we're going to see a full-scale return to the workplace right now is because employers realize that their employees might not want to do that and might want to find another job where they have more flexibility because they value their time at home now with their families or whatever the deal is, or just the convenience of working from home and not having to pay for all the gas and all the things that it takes to, you know what I mean, get out on the road, get dressed, get ready, go into work.
Some of them don't require you to.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if a large chunk of your job is like being on the road or going to appointments and this and that, it's like, I get the, it's hard for bosses to let go of that, but it's like, right, okay, you can still get them together in a meeting. You can rent meeting rooms. So like, they got to show up every day. Like, they just put numbers in a computer or going out on a call. They could do that at home.
That's what I keep saying about our sales force. Like, why would I come back? It costs $360 a month to park in the parking garage. $370 a month to park in the parking garage. So just by not coming into work, you've already given yourself a raise, right? You're not sitting in traffic. And the things that you physically do here, you can still do at home. Like, so if I'm in sales, why am I coming in? For what? I mean, one reason why I would come into work if I can do my job from home and be more efficient, probably be done sooner, right? Mm-hmm. And save money and not sit in traffic all day. Like, I'll work from home.
Was there a string of events when you were working in the restaurant industry where you got to the point where you were thinking to yourself, I want to do something else, or was it situational based on a couple different things, a couple different jobs? Because I know you were offered like a head chef job at one point in time.
Yeah, I just hated it, man. Like anything,
which
your
is kind of weird because they're offering you more money than you'd ever made before.
Yes, they were offering me more money to take over a restaurant. It was going to be a new restaurant. It had not opened at the time that they offered me the job, and it was offering me $60,000 a year. And at the time, I was making either $11 an hour in radio for a 10-hour work week, or I was getting $10 an hour for 11-hour work. I can't remember, but either way, one of those two. But the main difference, and I won't say it was simple because it's something you had to think about, but the difference was this. I don't like cooking, not professionally. It's not the job I wanted, but like anything, when you're younger, your parents say, go get a job. And after people that work in restaurants, it's an easy first job to take. I mean, retail restaurants, right? The service industry is pretty accommodating to that. And like anything, when you're getting paid hourly, if another job offers you 50 cents more an hour, you'll take it. And you keep working with the same people, right? You're a cook. It transfers from one restaurant to the other, but it's never what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. I wanted to do radio. So after I started in radio, I just thought to myself, all right, you can make $60,000 a year doing this thing that you hate, and you're not going to last at it. You're not, because you can mentally feel that you're starting to lose it, or you can just be as crazy as you actually are and try to pursue the radio thing. I will say, by not taking that job and just working part-time, my efforts in radio went through the roof, right? Because
you have more time to work it.
Well, but I got to do this. I've just kind of effed myself financially. You have to make this work
because you already made the break.
I made the break. Like, dude, I mean, you can go back to that, but it's not where I want to be. I hated it every day. You know what I mean? That's not something I can do. So pursue this radio thing and hope like hell that it works out. And I got lucky. Because it did. And I want to say, Ted, you and I both got lucky because we got to start, and I wish radio would go back to this. They won't, but we got to start on an AM sports talk station.
Yeah.
And not so much about talking sport, but the idea of talking instead of just playing music. Because that's of zero interest to me. Nothing against it. It's just not what I wanted to do. But because it was an AM station with a 5,000-watt signal, they knew that no one was listening. And that proved to be true. No one listens to the station, so they didn't care as much about the kind of show you're trying to put together. Mm-hmm. Right? So, truly, we might be the last generation of people that had that opportunity. I don't even know where they find radio people now.
Probably
honestly, but it's a different thing.
It is. It's a completely different animal. Well, I do remember,
I would also say, too, like, I had a bunch of different jobs, right? Leaving and being a janitor was kind of tough because that was a good gig.
And you like the guys you worked with,
right? I worked at the AFL-CIO. It was good, but same thing. I want to do something different. But the main thing for stop working in bars and restaurants was just nights and weekends.
God, no kidding, right?
Just to have it free.
Well, because it's just one of those industries where you kind of like, it's just a massive deal. Like, as most people starting jobs or whatever, and you kind of get to a 9 to 5. But yeah, having nights and weekends was even just like little things like going to a niece's birthday or going to your buddy's house on Saturday and like having fun, not being like, yeah, I'm going to stay for a couple hours and I go work. But
Right.
you got to work the weekends and nights to make money.
Right. If you want to make money in that industry, it's right. Definitely the weekends.
When I started working in radio, I was 16 years old, but I wasn't working I was doing more promotional stuff. I was doing more stuff outside the radio station. And, you show up at a grocery store and hand some stuff away, or you show up at a fair, you do that kind of thing, and you kind of work your way in. But I was
give out the free stickers.
Yeah, but I was still in high school, and then I learned how to run the board in high school and all this stuff, and I decided I wanted to go to broadcasting school. So when I went to broadcasting school in college, it was broken up into radio and television. Well, I'd already done, basically, I had a head start, so to speak, as far as the radio industry and where it was at that point in time, and I had a pretty good handle on it, and they gave me, say, 10 hours a week to work at the radio station on the weekends or whenever there was something that needed to be done. But at the same point in time, one of the aspects of the degree was that I was interested in television because it was the part that I had not done. I thought, well, okay, maybe that's a possibility. And part of the requirement for my graduation was to be an intern at a television station. So for one semester, I went and I was an intern at a television station. When I was done with the internship, the director, the producer, the weekend producer said, hey, we need weekend reporters. We need weekend anchors. We need people who can come in here and work that aren't the Monday through Friday. Right. We want to hire you for possibly 10 more hours a week. You know what I mean? Or whatever. Would you be willing to take that job? And I was like, hell yeah, man. I would love to be a reporter on the weekend. What I didn't realize was being a reporter on the weekend meant you went out in the truck that you drove with a tripod and a camera, and you set that bad boy up, and you mic'd yourself up, and you either waited for the live shot or you recorded your package. You went out, you did everything. You came back in. You edited that package up depending on how much time they needed, what they wanted to do as far as covering the story that you were dealing with. And there was one point in time where I had to cover on a Friday night. And I'll never forget this. There was a big trial in Clarksburg, West Virginia, and I'm not sure, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like a judge was taking bribes or some crap or whatever, but it was like a big deal there because it was like,
well, yeah, judge taking bribes.
Trial finally wrapped up or whatever the deal was. But I had not been covering the story all week, all right? Because I'm just the weekend guy. Some other reporter had been covering the story, so I kind of looked at what he did, took his notes, go out there. I'm standing in front of this courthouse. It is 11:15. All right? This is a Friday night. All right, so my hit was probably 11:10, 11:15. There's nobody at the courthouse. I've got this thing set up. I also had to bring lights in because you really couldn't see, but I needed to be in front of the courthouse. I was the epicenter of this entire thing. So, after they get done talking about it in the studio, they throw it to me, and I'm there. I start doing the report, and I turn around, and nobody's there, and it's this empty courthouse, and I turn back around, and I did the rest of my report. And right in the time where I was closing and signing off and throwing it back to you, a car full of chicks went by, with their heads hanging out the window, obviously going to party, obviously having a good time with themselves. Like, whoa!
Is there any other noise?
Right, and I'm just like... And I'm watching this, and I thought to myself, if I go into television, then I'm going to be told what to do and where to go. And this is the kind of thing where if your parents told you to do, you're like, why do I have to be there?
Exactly.
The courthouse closed at 4:30. This has already been nice. It's 11:15 at night.
You got to say right here in this very courthouse
where no one's been here for the last 7 hours.
What if I was there during the actual trial, and when they came out, I could get questions, and they did have a reporter there, but there's no point in me being there. At this point in time, standing outside and setting up all this stuff, you know what I mean? And that car full of women went by, and I was just like Ted, you said, man, I could be out right now. It's Friday night. This is completely pointless. I could have done this in a 2-minute package. And been done by 6 and gone home. I'm like, I'm never doing TV. So after that was done,
I'm never doing it again.
A couple more weeks, I'm like, you know what, this isn't for me. They did give me more hours at the radio station.
All right, there you go.
So I was just like, all right, this is not the right way. What is the reason that you had to change jobs? 206-421.
Bro, gnarly. What's up, Taylor? Dude, that nerd in his electric hybrid totally blew the light while texting his yuppie friends.
That's so bogus, bro. Are you hurt?
Yeah, I can't move my hips, bro. I think I broke my pelvis, man. Dude, no way.
Taylor, you need to drop a dime and talk with the lawyers at the Advocates Law Firm.
No way, can't afford that, bro. Your crotch is broken, man, and they don't earn any money unless they win your case. Dude, no way. You get injured, the advocates get results. Contact them today at advocateslaw.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Realtors abide by a code of ethics. This is Article 9 in action. Beth, a first-time homebuyer, knew nothing about the home buying process, except that she wanted to buy a home. But her realtor had the expertise to make sure Beth understood every document, even giving her copies to review with her lawyer so Beth could close on her first home with confidence. Complicated things explained in simple terms. The difference between an agent and a realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
99.9 KISW. The shenanigans continue. This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill.
I don't know if you guys remember Better.com with all the crazy stuff going on with COVID. Better.com. Better.com was they're an online mortgage company.
All right.
They announced yesterday that they're taking the difficult step of streamlining their operations, and they're laying off about 1/3 of its workforce. That's about 3,000 jobs. They became famous, or quasi-famous, or gained notoriety last year after its CEO fired 900 employees over Zoom just before Christmas.
Yeah. I remember that guy now.
That's the guy. Our question, what's the reason that you had to change jobs? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Ashley. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Hola.
Hola.
So, right before COVID hit, I was working at Tractor Supply, and they didn't have any equipment, and I was like, oh wait, so this stuff is transmittable, all right, well, I need to start wearing face masks. I was bringing my own equipment, and I was like, you guys aren't prepared. And then this guy came in one time and was mad that I didn't give him exact change or something like that. I was cashiering, and started throwing coins up in the air. And I was like, sir, can you please not do that? I'm gonna have to clean this up. And he was like, oh, you're gonna have to clean up? And so he started throwing more in the air, and I was like, wow, cashiering is not for me. So I felt that when I heard you guys say that. Cashiering is not what it used to be.
Well, no, okay, it's not what it used to be. I don't think if that's the response of the customer that it's for anyone.
Yeah. No, it's that.
So did you just decide at that point in time that maybe that location wasn't for you, just the idea of working retail wasn't for you?
Or did he ruin people for you?
Well, see, now I work for a company through Amazon, LSCR, and not only do they treat me right, but I drive my own van, I deliver a certain amount of packages in a day. I have to deal with people, and some people suck, they have specific notes and whatnot, and if you don't put it where it's at, it'll give you a bad review, but for the most part, it's not that bad.
I feel like people at home, particularly if you're delivering, and look, it's not to say that people aren't a-holes anyway, but if you show up at someone's home for something that they want or have ordered or are expecting, they seem to be a lot more cordial than the average person right now stepping into a store outside of their home and dealing any kind of customer
Also, though,
service.
but you got to walk through that gate, and there's a dog in the yard. I mean, how many?
Yeah, and I've been chased.
Do you carry dog treats with you and anything like that?
No, because I feel like that will they'll try to eat me more.
All right, okay. I wonder if it was a strategy when it comes to.
I don't know. My experience, anyway, with most dogs, if you have treats and you keep hooking them up, the last thing they want to do is eat you. But you better have them on you the next time you go to that address.
Right, it kind of buys you some freedom with the dog.
It really does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what about the idea of this? You know for a fact that I'll just guesstimate here. 50%, 60% of the homes that you go to have some type of security ring cam alarm or whatever. Are you conscious of not scratching your ass, not picking your nose when you go up to the front door? You can't just go up to the door and rip a big fart. You know what I mean? Drop the package off and leave. I mean, are you aware of that?
You feel like someone's watching you at all times.
If just that moment hit the top step, you're like, that's going to be caught on camera.
Yeah,
you're probably going to go viral.
I've been chased by dogs. I sing a lot, so sometimes when I'm listening to a song, I'll continue singing, and I'll walk up to the door. And I'm like, oh.
The singing is not so bad, but
just depending on how bad you are
in this very building. The only safe place, as far as I know, to adjust myself or something, or the elevator, because everywhere else you're on camera. So I'll know. I flop to one side. I want to adjust myself, but I'm they're looking at me.
You do realize there's cameras in the elevator?
I do now.
Yes.
I assume there's cameras in almost every elevator I get into.
Oh, really?
Unless it's an old building.
They do a good job of hiding them in these.
I'm going to ask our friend down there, is Tyler, I believe?
Yep.
Hey, man, do you have, because if you do have cameras in the elevator, you've seen me do some obvious farts, right? Lift the leg up, adjust myself, probably scratch my armpits and smell my fingers. All the standard stuff you do when no one's looking.
I think, though, being a delivery driver, I don't think that would be the worst job in the world because you know what you got to do. You know it's got to get there. You got a task, you know what I mean? You know where you need to be and go. And to do a different route or do the same route or whatever. Like, I don't think that would be the worst job in the world. It seems like time would go by pretty quickly.
But traffic.
Well, yeah, that's another aspect of it.
You know, traffic just slows everything down. No one's in a good mood in traffic.
No.
And jobs are weird, too, right? Like, we like our jobs. But, I mean, I have plenty of friends that, like, it's not that they hate their jobs. It's just their job.
Right.
Like,
It's literally just work.
Right. Yeah. Like, they hang out with the fam or hang out with their buddies on the weekend, take trips. Like, that's why they work.
Was door-to-door sales the worst job you ever had? As far as being able to make money out of it? Or just enjoying the job itself?
Yeah, that one pretty much sucked. Because, I mean, right, because you're selling people, number one, like, a lot of times we were selling products they don't need.
Of course.
So we're trying to convince you. And then, yeah, it's just rough. Like, you're knocking on somebody's door. Like you said, if they're expecting you, that's one thing. But they're not.
Right. Anybody ever come up with a gun? To the door?
No.
That seems a little bit, I don't know, just like something.
I mean, some people just yell, get away from my door.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but you're right. You think about it. If I'm at home and someone unexpectedly knocks on my door, and then when I open my door, you have a sales pitch, I'm already annoyed. I mean, unless you said, I have a bag of cocaine. Like, well, come on in. But, you know, chances are you're selling a product. Actually, we had a guy last summer. It worked out because I just finished trying to take out the hornet's nest that they decided to build inside of the basketball hoop that I have for the kid, right? Inside of the cylinder that holds the hoop up. So I've got like painter's tape, paper towels, and some kind of bug spray. And I swear to God, so you can hear these things buzzing inside of the cylinder. My kid wants to shoot hoops, but every time we hit the backboard, I mean, these things come out. Obvious reasons, they attack us. So I said, look, let me go handle this. So there's those little holes in the back of the cylinder. I put the nozzle up. I pump it once. And I mean, within half of a second, wasps came out and stung me. I mean, it was instant. I was like, ow, God damn it. So, but as I'm dealing with that and I taped it all up, this kid comes walking up the street. Well, kid, he's probably 20 years old. And it's like, and my wife and I are outside and he's walking up the driveway. He's kind of wearing a uniform. So I'm already like, oh, God damn it. And of course I get to be nice. Don't be. I'm like, all right. So the guy's like, hey, I'm from whatever family owned business. I wanted to tell them I don't care. As it turns out, they kind of do like insect extermination stuff. And I was like, are you being serious? I mean, like 10 minutes have passed since I dealt with these hornets. And I'm like, are you being serious right now? He's like, yeah. I'm like, let me show you a few things. Basically, you're hired. They showed up like 2 days later, hooked up. Ants went away.
Oh, cool.
The hornets went away. He discovered another hornet's nest that I was unaware of. He took care of that one. I mean, it's great. They come out like once every 6 months, man. I told him, you could not have come at a better time. And also, it helped that my wife was here telling me to be nice when they see you walking up
I worked for my buddy's exterminating company, but all I did was drill for termites. Right. So I'm drilling into cinder blocks all day on my knees. And that was one of the worst jobs I've ever had.
I would say physically.
I was so painful.
Landscaping with my buddy Bernie, that was probably the worst one.
Yeah, as far as just the physical toll it took on your body.
Right, it's summertime, and he's out front every morning at 5:30 honking that horn. And like, we were the first two employees for him and his brother, so like, we did everything.
And it's so hot and humid there, man.
Yeah, but door to door, I will say, as much as there was bad times, and some people just don't want anybody at their door, there's also some really good times. Like, first time I ever had oxtail, like, some lady was like, come in, like, try this.
Oh, that's cool.
I was like, what's it? So,
she fed you?
Yeah.
Damn.
Because, I mean, once you start chatting with people, by the time they're going to pull out their checkbook and everything, like, some people are just like, oh, all right.
There was the good and bad of every job. When I had that job with the Census Bureau in 1990, they were paying a ton of money.
Sure.
It was like $10, $12 an hour. It was insane. I mean, I'm making $3 an hour at the time or whatever it was.
Crazy.
But this is government money. And all you needed to do was just hit every certain, the number of homes that you needed to hit and get your census stuff taken care of on that day. So it wasn't crazy. You could be done by 1 and still get paid to work until, like, if you were at 5. But on the flip side, there were a lot of other 18, 19-year-old people who were working there at the time. And I would say about 65 to 70% of the workforce was female. And there's always instances of homeowners who are uncooperative, homeowners where you can't get on property, places where people did not feel comfortable going to those residences and knocking on the doors.
In rural West Virginia,
really. Rural West Virginia. So there was like a goon squad. There was like my manager who was like, he's 33, but he was like, bigger dude.
Right.
And like one other guy that was like my age, like it was like 3 of us. And then we had to go and clean up all of those territories and all those places.
So you had to go to the places that everyone else was super uncomfortable going.
And then they wrote detail on why that they did not want to go in there, so you had an idea.
Seems dangerous.
Dog in the yard, like beware of dog signs, like, a gun on a sign, like whatever it was always just something where you walked up and like, okay, what is this one going to be? You know what I mean? Because you just didn't know. And sometimes you'd have to get on someone's property where there's a gate and, like, you know, trespassers will be shot. And you had to walk up a dirt road, you know what I mean? And you wore an orange vest. Yeah, so you look like kind of like a hunter. You could be identified. You aren't going to be mistaken for anything other than...
That doesn't mean you won't be shot.
It does not mean you
Sign
won't be shot.
up front should told you.
Exactly. Why are you here?
Now you're an easier target.
Right, exactly.
Orange don't camouflage, homie.
And a couple of times you're like, oh, yeah, sit down, man. You know, here, have a Budweiser. Like, no, I can't drink on the job. You know,
you never did that?
Because my boss is here.
Oh, okay.
You know, so it's like...
There's a lot of things you're not supposed to do, but...
Exactly. But that was...
I mean, if you offer me a drink, man, especially if I'm going door to door, whether it's sales, the census, like, hey, you want to come in and have a beer? It's like, I sure do.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, like, I eat food. I'm trying to remember, because I was younger at that job, so I don't know if I ever stopped in for a beer. I would also say delivering papers. That sucked.
You mean
just based on getting up at that early...
you got to get up that early, and then people forget, like, you got to bag them and stuff, too.
How old were you when you did it?
Oh, man, I was a young teenager. I'm like 15.
Yeah,
my brother got the route, but he was also a bartender. So sometimes on Friday and Saturday night, he was just, to be nice, physically incapable of delivering these papers.
I see. Okay.
So that turned into a family effort, which was mainly me and his buddy Rich.
Yeah, my brother delivered papers for like 2 years when we lived in Denver. And that's when he was just attacked by people that we didn't know had dogs. We discovered they had a dog when they attacked and bit him. I mean, this dude, and look.
Because you're teetering on that part of the morning where, like, people aren't going to work yet.
Right.
So people are shocked when you're on their porch or whatever. Yeah. And you're right. Like, animals are just kind of out.
Yeah, they're just out. My brother, I was helping him one Sunday, right? Because that was the big paper. He put all the coupons, all this kind of crap. So I'm in the garage. I'm just helping him stuff the newspapers full of all the brochures, all the sales crap, whatever. Fold it up, stuff in the bag, right? And then he had, like, what I always call the old woman grocery cart kind of thing. He would drop the papers in there, take them out, and deliver the papers. So we loaded the thing up. He walks off, and we lived on the corner. So he disappears around the corner. And I mean, maybe 8 seconds pass, and I hear his footsteps. Then he's screaming, "Close the garage door!" And I realize he's running as fast as he can, and he's still pulling his old lady cart with the papers. And behind him, he's being chased by a bulldog. Now, I don't know if you've seen a bulldog run full tilt. You can kind of outrun him for a while. It was closing the gap, but it's the slowest possible dog to chase him. And I just remember the sheer terror on his face, right? And he'd been bitten, I want to say, and when he's bitten, he's never just bitten, he's attacked. And these are the dogs in the neighborhood that played with all the other kids. There's something about my brother the dogs hate. So he comes hauling ass back. And I remember we didn't have an electric garage door opener, so I got my hands up top, and as soon as he gets in, and he dives in, and I slam the door down, and as soon as the door meets the cement of the garage, you hear this dog jumping. You hear its claws dragging down the outside of the door. I'm like, what is it with you?
Are dogs the equivalent to him of like you in vegetables? In other words, like if you got him a puppy, I bet he's never owned a dog, has he?
Are you kidding? No. The puppy would kill him.
That's
if you got him the cutest little puppy that Sarah McLachlan sang you to tears, and you handed it to him, that thing would bare its teeth and go for his jugular. I swear to God, I do not. My first dog after I moved out of the house, all right? I love this dog. We actually took the dog to the vet because in the 2 years that I had the dog leading up to that, I had never heard the dog bark. So we thought there was something wrong with the dog. Vet runs all these tests. I go, man, your dog's just chill. And he was a chill dog. We're like, real chill. So my brother's going to help me move one time. And I'm changing apartments. I live on the 4th floor of a converted row house. I did not know that he had shown up. But my dog, who I had never heard bark before, his hair stands up, and he loses his S, man. And he's basically screaming at my front door, which leads to the steps to go all the way down. And I open the window, I look at, and there's my brother. Hey, man, I'm here to help you move. I was like, hey, man.
That is the weirdest thing.
I was like, I got to put my dog away. And so I stuffed the dog into my bedroom at the end of this hall. And the entire time, every time my brother walked into my apartment to help me grab something, this dog smashing his head against the bedroom door. Like, he wanted to get out and kill my brother. And I'm not kidding. It was the only time.
Pheromones or something like that?
It's God or he's Satan. I don't know, man.
Your brother's not a bad person. Generally, I don't trust people that dogs don't like him.
He's not a bad guy at all. But
is it like because it started so early? Does he just give off like, I'm scared if you dog attack me?
No, because the dogs that first attacked him when we lived in Denver doing his newspaper route, he was not apprehensive about them until after they pounced on him. We watched the dog bite him. It didn't attack him. It just bit him. The problem was there's like 8 of us out there, including my parents. They are talking to these people on the front steps of their house, just having a regular conversation. And they had, I don't know, what's the big, like some kind of lab, the like rust-colored ones, whatever. And the lab is out playing with all of us. My brother walks up, and again, he's delivering papers at this point. Now, my brother gets to the point of the sidewalk where we're playing. The dog walks over, sniffs him, and bites him. Jeez. It wasn't even like vicious. It was just like, It's like, oh my God, man. What is it with you?
What is the reason that you had to change jobs? 206-421-ROCK.
You know, it's my dog duty. I got to bite this dude.
Oh, dude. I mean, I don't know if he smells like a Slim Jim or whatever it is, but dogs hate him. Every dog. Hello, Steven. Welcome to the men's room.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Hola.
Hola. So, let me stop the car here. So, back when I was a young kid, I started a company in Houghton over here in Kirkland called Moss Bay Moss Company, and I sold moss to wholesale houses for flower arrangements. And in my spare time, I would sneak my camera equipment in to take pictures of concerts. And somebody got my pictures out there, and I got a phone call saying, we want you to come to Chicago. We want to interview you for a job in 6 weeks. And I thought, oh, my God, you know, this is it. I that's what I want to do. So I sold my company, got about $400,000 for it.
Damn, Jesus.
Very, very well. Very well.
And did you move to Chicago?
No, I went to Chicago, and I'm now 58. I was 16 when I signed a contract, and I'm 58 now, and I've been working for Playboy ever since as a music photographer.
Really?
Oh, nice.
Absolutely. Luckiest guy in the world. I drive a piece of junk car.
Sounds lucky.
You know, the thing is, I've been saving up because I want to retire, and that's happening at the end of the year. So,
oh, sweet. Good for you, man.
It's the luckiest thing in the world. And I was lucky to be picking moss. You know, every flower arrangement has to have it, and I was set for life doing that. But taking pictures and going to rock concerts, man, it's awesome. I've been all over the world, 21 countries, and I just got lucky.
Who's
lucky.
Who is the coolest artist you got to deal with, and then who's the worst artist you had to deal with?
Oh, wow. Geez, I think one of the coolest was Ronnie James Dio.
He's a very nice guy.
Yeah.
Super nice guy, and his wife was really great, and I went and did a gig for him down at Newport, and we stayed in his beach house there that was right on the bike path.
We have our buddy lives up the road from him in the same neighborhood. Yeah. And he would say that you would drive by Ronnie James Dio's house, and he'd be out there in shorts cutting grass.
Just wave to you.
Just wave to you. You know what I mean?
he gave us the house to live in. He gave us his G9, his personal car, the limo, and his driver Ted, and that was really good. Except that when girls would pull up alongside the limo, I'd lean out the window, and go, "Hey, how you doing?" They go like, "Hey," and then they'd see him, and this guy is like 6'5", blonde hair, Roman cut. I mean, oh my God! They just go. I think the worst I ever worked with as an artist and not as a band would be Axl Rose.
Okay, we've heard that.
But that was probably that was probably a while ago, right?
Yeah, it was back a long time ago. As a matter of fact, when I came back from California, I brought back some recordings, some studio stuff that my friends gave me, and one of those things that I brought back was a really rough recording of the album Welcome to the Jungle. And I actually had pictures of my mom cutting a ribbon. We had a huge toga party in Houghton, and we had a sign going all the way across the roof of the house, like 7 feet tall, with 350-watt stage lights on it that said Welcome to the Jungle Toga Party, and the album hadn't been released yet. And, you know, I thought they were the greatest thing in the world. I mean, I'd never heard anything like it. It's like the first time I heard Van Halen, and I heard they were going to open for Black Sabbath. When they came to Seattle, I was like, who are these guys? These guys are amazing.
Yeah, Guns N' Roses was one of those bands where you heard them for the first time and you went, oh, my God.
I remember. It was like all the talk in school.
What is...
Because Motley Crue was on top of the world, right? So I remember there was one super hot chick that loved Motley Crue in high school. I'm always trying to get smooth up in her. Never happened. But I was like, hey, have you heard of Guns N' Roses? It's like, who? And she's one. I mean, she had Motley Crue everything, right? And I said, I'm telling you, I think they're better than Motley Crue. And I mean, she stared me down, all right? But about a week later, she finally heard, not the album hadn't quite come out yet, but she heard Welcome to the Jungle on a quote-unquote pirate radio station, as it were, back then. She was like, that is the coolest song I've ever heard. So I'm just telling, I don't know what they look like. I don't know what the rest of their music sounds like, but that one song tells me this.
I think that was 103.1 The Underground. It was
the Underground.
Yeah.
That's why our signal is so bad in spite of us being FM. If we just call it pirate radio or the Underground, or give it...
Seriously.
Well, I worked at that station.
Did you?
I worked
as the Underground?
No, it was a different format.
Okay.
But all that stuff was still there.
So you still sounded like
so you
crap.
like walk around and go like, Saxon? They have Saxon? They have like 8 albums from Saxon. Where am I? This is insane. What's the reason that you had to change jobs? 206-421-ROCK.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.